Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to deposit a truth into your spirit that may disturb your comfort but will confirm your calling. God is not in the business of maintaining your life. He is in the business of transforming it. Change is the proof of life. Where there is no change, there is no growth. God allows change to announce that you are still under His divine construction. Change is heaven's signal that you are still useful in the earth. It is God's reminder that your best days are not behind you, but ahead of you. When God gets ready to shift your life, He begins with the invisible, not the visible. He touches your spirit first, long before He touches your circumstances. There is an internal awakening, a stirring deep within that whispers, you are made for more. You find yourself losing satisfaction with the places you once called comfortable. The job you once loved feels too small. The environment you once celebrated feels confining. You look around and realize you no longer fit the life you once prayed for. This restlessness is not rebellion, it is revelation. When heaven schedules a change, the first thing God often does is close doors. Opportunities dry up, resources seem to thin. People who once welcomed you start to withdraw. At first, it may feel like rejection. But if you look through the eyes of the Spirit, you will recognize that closed doors are divine protection. God shuts down yesterday's provision to push you toward tomorrow's promise. Every closed door carries a hidden message. Move forward. When you obey the nudge to move, you are not losing something, you are making room for something greater. Then, almost suddenly, new doors appear. Opportunities you never considered begin to show up in your path. Invitations you didn't ask for are extended to you. New ideas burst forth in your mind like seeds in good soil. These opportunities may look unfamiliar, even intimidating. They may pull you into arenas where you feel unqualified. But that is exactly how God works. He calls you beyond your experience so you can live by faith and not by sight. Do not be afraid of strange doors. Remember, God hides destiny in unfamiliar places. As change unfolds, relationships begin to shift. Some friends fall away. Some voices that once validated you become silent. Some companions cannot journey with you into the next dimension of your destiny. This pruning is painful but purposeful. Everyone connected to your history cannot be connected to your destiny. God removes who you no longer need so He can introduce who you must know. Loyalty to expired relationships can cost you your promised land. Move when God moves. Release when God releases. In the middle of all this, you will notice a boldness rising within you. A courage you did not manufacture on your own. A willingness to take risks you would have never considered in seasons past. This is not natural boldness. It is supernatural confidence imparted by the Spirit of God. It is the Lion of Judah roaring inside of you, announcing that you were born for this moment. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead begins to quicken your mortal body, infusing you with divine strength to step where you have never stepped before. As you obey, you will see resources begin to align with your purpose. People you never met will advocate for you. Ideas you never dreamed will flourish. Finances will come from unexpected places. When God funds a vision, it is because He has already approved it in heaven. Provision is not random. It follows obedience. Purpose has a magnetic pull, and when you move in your purpose, everything necessary for your journey begins to find you. However, before the full breakthrough comes, your faith will be tested. Every promise demands preparation. God will stretch you beyond what is comfortable. He will call you to believe when nothing around you looks different. He will ask you to stand firm when you feel like running. This testing is not to destroy you. It is to strengthen you. God tests what He intends to trust. The bigger the assignment, the bigger the preparation. Giants only show up on the pathway to promised lands. The pressure you feel is a sign that you are close. When God gets ready to change your life, it may not look the way you expect. It may not feel the way you imagined. But if you stay sensitive to His voice, if you obey His leading, you will find yourself stepping into the place you were created for. You will realize that everything that left you was supposed to leave. Everything that ended was supposed to end. And everything that hurt you was meant to help you. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. God was weaving it all together to launch you into destiny. Seasons announce transitions. Every divine change is preceded by a season of preparation. Discern the season, and you will discern the shift. Nothing significant in your life happens without heaven first sending signs. Seasons are not accidents. They are divine appointments. If you can read the season, you can predict your future. Just like the farmer knows when to plant and when to harvest, because he reads the signs in the soil and the sky, so must you learn to read the spiritual climate of your life. God speaks in seasons. He uses time to train you, not to trap you. Preparation always precedes promotion. God never sends elevation without first sending education. Before he reveals the palace, he hides you in the pasture. Before he puts a crown on your head, he puts a sword in your hand. Every great destiny is forged in hidden seasons. The problem with many people is not that God has not spoken. It is that they have not discerned the season they are standing in. Misreading your season can cost you your future. There are seasons of isolation. These are the seasons when God pulls you away from crowds, from noise, from the comfort of being seen. It feels like you are forgotten, like you are overlooked. But in isolation, God is not ignoring you. He is investing in you. He silences the external so you can hear the eternal. He strips away applause so you can recognize his approval. In isolation, your identity is refined. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Then there are seasons of contemplation. God begins to expose hidden issues in your heart. Pride, fear, insecurity, bitterness. All the silent assassins of destiny are brought to the surface. It is uncomfortable. It is painful, but it is necessary. You cannot conquer what you will not confront. And God loves you too much to promote you with defects that would later destroy you. He corrects in private so you can stand in public. After confrontation, there is often a season of acceleration. Doors open quickly. Connections happen rapidly. Favor seems to chase you down. What took years in the past now happens in months or even moments. But acceleration is only for the prepared. Those who skip preparation will crash during acceleration. That is why God insists on building your character before he broadcasts your calling. Success without stability is sabotage. God is not just trying to take you high, he is trying to make you last. You must also recognize seasons of testing. Testing seasons feel like everything is standing still. You pray, but the heavens seem silent. You work, but the fruit seems slow. Testing is when God measures your endurance. Can you stay faithful without immediate rewards? Can you remain consistent when applause is absent? God tests your commitment to see if you can be trusted with covenant. Tests are not designed to fail you. They are designed to qualify you. The key to thriving in any season is discernment. If you mistake a planting season for a harvest season, you will grow frustrated and bitter. If you mistake a pruning season for a punishment season, you will resist the very hand that is preparing you for more. Discernment allows you to cooperate with God's process rather than fighting against it. When you understand your season, you can maximize your moment. Remember, seasons are temporary, but destiny is eternal. No season lasts forever. Winter may feel brutal, but spring always comes. Your current season is preparing you for your coming elevation. Do not despise your season. Embrace it. Work it. Worship in it. Grow through it. Every tear you shed, every prayer you prayed, every silent sacrifice you made, it is all adding up. In the hands of God, no season is wasted. Even your broken seasons are building you. Seasons are God's strategy to sustain your destiny. He will never allow you to arrive unprepared. He knows what you will face tomorrow, so he is preparing you today. Trust the season you are in. Trust the process. Trust the God who holds your times and seasons in his hands. Disruption is heaven's invitation. Before a breakthrough, God often interrupts your normal. Disruption is not rejection, it is redirection. Whenever God is preparing to do something extraordinary in your life, he first unsettles the ordinary. He shakes the ground beneath your feet, not to frighten you, but to free you. Disruption is not the end of your story. It is the evidence that a new chapter is about to begin. If you are sensitive to the Spirit, you will realize that what looks like chaos is often construction. God is building something greater, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Throughout Scripture, God always used disruption to announce destiny. Abraham was disrupted when God called him out of his father's house, away from the familiar into a land he had never seen. Moses was disrupted when he encountered a burning bush on the backside of the desert, changing him from a fugitive into a deliverer. Mary was disrupted when the angel announced she would carry the Savior of the world. Every disruption carried with it an invitation into a destiny far bigger than they could have imagined. In the same way, your disruption is not a punishment. It is a promotion disguised as a problem. The human heart craves routine. We find comfort in the familiar even when it limits us. But God is committed to your destiny, not your comfort. He will allow certain things to collapse so that you will no longer depend on them. He will remove crutches you leaned on so that you lean on Him alone. He will dry up resources you trusted so that you will discover new wells of provision in places you never thought to look. Heaven's disruptions are deliberate. They are divine interruptions designed to shift your direction and sharpen your vision. Sometimes disruption comes through circumstances beyond your control. A sudden loss, a relationship ending, a career path closing. Other times disruption comes internally through a holy dissatisfaction that makes it impossible to settle for less than God's best. Either way, when disruption comes, it is critical that you do not misinterpret it. If you mistake disruption for destruction, you will resist the very process meant to elevate you. If you mislabel the season, you will mismanage the opportunity. God is too intentional to allow random events to govern your life. Every disruption has a purpose. It is heaven's way of signaling that you have outgrown your current place. It is a divine eviction notice served on the comfort zones that have expired. The place that once nurtured you can become the place that imprisons you if you stay too long. Disruption forces movement. It compels decision. It demands growth. When disruption shows up, you must respond with discernment, not despair. Ask not, why is this happening to me, but rather, Lord, what are you preparing me for? Faith is not the absence of disruption. Faith is the ability to see God in the midst of disruption. It is the confidence that even when the ground shakes and the winds blow, you are anchored in something unmovable. Disruption shakes what can be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. It reveals what is eternal by removing what is temporary. The faster you recognize God's hand in your disruption, the faster you will align with His new direction. Some delays are divine strategies. Some detours are protective reroutes. Some endings are necessary beginnings. What you think is a breakdown is often a breakthrough being birthed. In God's economy, nothing is wasted. Every tear, every trial, every disappointment is a tool He uses to shape the destiny you are called to walk in. The worst thing you can do in a season of disruption is cling to what God is removing. When God pulls you out of a season, He has already prepared a new one. When He shuts down a chapter, the ink is already wet on the next. Trust Him enough to let go. Trust Him enough to step forward even when you cannot see the whole staircase. Disruption demands trust on a new level. It demands faith that says, even when I cannot trace Him, I will trust Him. Heaven's invitation often comes wrapped in earthly inconvenience. Divine opportunities often look like human interruptions. If you can see with spiritual eyes, you will realize that what feels like the end is actually a new beginning. What feels like a loss is setting you up for a launch. What feels like disruption is actually a divine invitation to step into the life you were born to live. Divine dissatisfaction is a sign of impending elevation. When your spirit becomes restless with your current reality, it is often because heaven is provoking you to move. Restlessness in the spirit is not rebellion, it is revelation. It is God whispering to your soul that what was once sufficient is no longer sustainable. It is the divine stirring that pushes you out of the comfort of today into the conquest of tomorrow. When your spirit becomes uncomfortable with the ordinary, it is because the extraordinary is calling you. God never allows his people to settle permanently in temporary places. Every tent you pitch is only for a season. Every assignment, every position, every comfort zone has an expiration date. Divine dissatisfaction is heaven's gentle nudge reminding you that you were made for more. It is the refusal of your spirit to make peace with a place you were only supposed to pass through. When God is getting ready to elevate you, he first agitates you. He makes where you are too small for who you are becoming. This holy dissatisfaction is different from human discontentment. Discontentment arises from a lack of gratitude. Divine dissatisfaction, however, is birthed from a revelation that destiny demands more. It is not a lack of thanksgiving. It is a surge of vision. It is when your dreams outgrow your environment, when your purpose stretches beyond your current platform. It is when what once fulfilled you now frustrates you, not because it is bad, but because it is no longer enough for who you are called to be. When divine dissatisfaction hits your spirit, you find yourself longing for something you cannot fully articulate. You feel the stirring before you see the shifting. Your spirit moves before your circumstances do. God always moves in your heart before he moves in your life. If you ignore the stirring, you will miss the shifting. If you suppress the dissatisfaction, you will sabotage the elevation. You must honor the prompting of the Spirit, even when it disrupts your natural comfort. Many people mistake divine dissatisfaction as a sign that something is wrong with them, when in reality, it is a sign that something is right. It is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are growing. The caterpillar becomes restless inside the cocoon before it emerges as a butterfly. It is uncomfortable before it is unstoppable. In the same way, your spirit knows when it is time to break out of old patterns, old environments, old mentality. What you are feeling is not failure, it is formation. God will often make your current success feel like a limitation to prepare you for greater responsibility. He will cause your achievements to feel incomplete because he has assigned you to a larger arena. You are too anointed to stay small. You are too called to settle. You are too appointed to accept average. That is why your spirit refuses to be satisfied with what others celebrate. They see you flourishing. God sees you unfinished. They say you have arrived. God says you are just beginning. Divine dissatisfaction is an invitation to pursue God at a deeper level. It is a summons to seek his face for the next instructions. When you feel the holy agitation, do not run to people for validation. Do not seek counsel from those who have settled when you are called to soar. Go into prayer. Seek his heart. Ask him to unveil the next dimension of your destiny. Divine dissatisfaction is heaven's way of making sure you never become a prisoner of past victories. When your spirit is restless, it is because your future is restless. Your tomorrow is pulling on your today. Your next season is calling your name. The future you is already speaking to the present you, saying, get ready. Do not ignore the voice. Do not silence the stir. When divine dissatisfaction fills your heart, know that elevation is not a possibility, it is a certainty. Heaven does not provoke what heaven will not promote. You are standing at the threshold of a divine upgrade. You are walking into spaces that match the weight of your calling. What you sense in your spirit is not random, it is prophetic. It is the evidence that heaven is orchestrating a shift beyond what your eyes have seen, beyond what your ears have heard, beyond what your mind has imagined. When divine dissatisfaction grips your heart, prepare yourself. The cloud of glory is moving and you must move with it. Provision follows purpose, not comfort. When God is about to change your life, he challenges your comfort to reveal your calling. God never sponsors comfort, he sponsors calling. He does not fund laziness, he funds assignment. Every time God prepares to shift you into your next level, he will confront the places where you have become too comfortable. Comfort is often the enemy of calling. Where there is too much comfort, there is often too little clarity. Comfort can become a cage that holds your potential hostage. But when God disrupts your comfort, he is unlocking your capacity for greater. There is a dangerous seduction in comfort. Comfort whispers lies to your destiny, saying you have done enough, you are successful enough, you have grown enough. Comfort deceives you into believing that survival is success. But God did not create you merely to survive. He created you to reign, to rule, to dominate, to expand, and to manifest His kingdom in the earth. That is why He is willing to make you uncomfortable when you refuse to move. He is willing to disturb your surroundings in order to develop your spirit. Provision is always tied to purpose. It is not tied to familiarity. It is not tied to safety. It is not tied to your personal plans. When you step into purpose, provision finds you. Resources you never had access to suddenly become available. Opportunities you never qualified for suddenly seek you out. Relationships that seemed impossible suddenly open up. But the provision does not come when you sit still. It comes when you step out. The river of provision only flows where the footsteps of obedience are moving. Look at every great story in Scripture. Provision met them on the road of purpose, not in the seat of comfort. Abraham did not see the ram until he climbed the mountain in obedience. Moses did not see the Red Sea part until he stretched out his rod in faith. Peter did not walk on water until he stepped out of the boat. The provision was always waiting on the other side of obedience. If you are waiting for everything to be perfect before you move, you will wait forever. God does not fund fear, He funds faith. When God stirs you to move beyond your comfort, it is a sign that something greater is calling you. Do not negotiate with the familiar when destiny is calling for your faith. Do not settle for predictable living when God has ordained you for prophetic movement. Your provision is waiting for you, but it is not waiting where you are comfortable. It is waiting where you are called. It is waiting where your faith says yes. It is waiting where your obedience breaks through your fear. There will always be a moment where you must choose between comfort and calling. You cannot have both. Comfort preserves who you are. Calling releases who you are becoming. Comfort protects your reputation. Calling births your revelation. Comfort clings to security. Calling demands surrender. Every time God promotes you, He demands a fresh surrender of your comfort zones. The price of destiny is the willingness to be uncomfortable. You will never discover the fullness of your purpose if you are addicted to convenience. Purpose will demand sacrifice. It will demand late nights of prayer, early mornings of obedience, seasons of uncertainty, and moments of total dependence on God. But the beauty is this: God's provision will sustain you through every step. His grace will carry you where your strength cannot. His favor will open doors that your qualifications cannot. When you say yes to purpose, you are not stepping into lack. You are stepping into abundance. You are not stepping into fear. You are stepping into faith. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into divine order. Provision flows in the direction of your yes. It follows your obedience like a shadow follows the body. You don't chase provision, you chase purpose. And provision. God challenges your comfort because He is jealous for your destiny. He loves you too much to let you die in a place He only intended for you to pass through. He shakes your comfort because He is awakening your calling. He unsettles your natural surroundings to reveal your supernatural identity. When God is about to change your life, you can always expect a divine discomfort. A restlessness that will not be satisfied until you move into what He has prepared for you. God hides destiny in unfamiliar places. The next chapter of your life will not look like the last. Be willing to leave the familiar to enter the phenomenal. Destiny is never found in the comfort zones of yesterday. It is hidden in the unknown fields of tomorrow. God has a habit of planting your next in a place your eyes have not seen, your ears have not heard, and your mind has not fully imagined. Meaning He veils His greatest treasures in unfamiliar territories, so that only the faithful and the courageous will find them. If you cling to what you know, you will forfeit what you're called to become. Familiarity feels safe, but it can be a subtle trap. It lulls you into cycles of predictability when God is calling you into dimensions of possibility. Your faith was never designed to be lived inside the walls of what you already understand. True faith begins where familiarity ends. The greater the unfamiliarity, the the greater the potential for destiny. God will call you into places you have never walked, to birth things you have never seen. When Abraham was called by God, he had to leave the land of his fathers to inherit a land he had never seen. God simply said, "Go to a land I will show you." No map, no itinerary, no assurances, just a word, just a promise, just a call to trust. This is the pattern of those who walk with God. He leads you away from the seen into the unseen, from the known into the unknown, from what you can manage to what only He can manifest. Destiny requires departure. Purpose requires pilgrimage. Transformation demands transition. There is a temptation to stay where it is predictable, where you are praised, where you are comfortable. But greatness is not birthed in the place of applause. It is birthed in the place of uncertainty, in the wilderness where you have no choice but to rely on the voice of God. The unfamiliar is not your enemy. It is your invitation. It is heaven's way of preparing you for something bigger than your background, wider than your experiences, deeper than your understanding. Many miss their destiny because they are unwilling to leave what is familiar. They pray for new seasons but refuse to leave old spaces. They ask God for a new dimension while clinging to old definitions. But you cannot step into the phenomenal while clutching the familiar. You must let go of yesterday's manna to receive today's miracles. God will not pour new wine into old wineskins. The places that once nourished you will eventually limit you if you stay too long. What was a blessing yesterday can become a barrier today. Destiny demands movement. It demands sensitivity to the Spirit's prompting, even when logic cannot explain the next step. God will never reveal the full picture, because if He did, you might retreat in fear or attempt to take control. So He reveals destiny step by step, door by door, opportunity by opportunity. You will never possess the fullness of what He has prepared until you are willing to say, "Lord, even if I do not know the way, I trust the one who leads me." The phenomenal rarely comes dressed in the familiar. It looks like risk, it feels like vulnerability, it sounds like uncertainty, but it carries the fragrance of the miraculous. God places your next level in strange lands so that you cannot take credit for finding it. You will know that it was not your wisdom that brought you there, not your experience that qualified you, but His grace alone that made a way. When you arrive at the place God has ordained, you will see that every unfamiliar road was necessary. Every unfamiliar connection was strategic. Every unfamiliar experience was preparation. God wastes nothing. Even the strange places are sacred. Even the uncomfortable paths are purposeful. Even the lonely moments are loaded with divine intention. So when God leads you into an unfamiliar place, do not resist. Rejoice. It is the sound of destiny calling you higher. It is the evidence that heaven trusts you enough to send you beyond the borders of your past. Walk boldly into the unknown. Step confidently into what your natural mind cannot comprehend. What waits for you is beyond anything you have seen before, for God hides the phenomenal in the fields of the unfamiliar. My friends, you were never designed to remain where you started. Destiny demands movement. Purpose insists on progress, and growth is the very proof that life still flows through you. Do not resist the seasons of change. Do not despise the disruptions that unsettle your plans. Do not fear the unfamiliar places where your feet have not yet tread. For in every shift, in every stirring, in every season of uncertainty, heaven is speaking, and it is announcing your transition. This is not the time to cling to yesterday's comfort. This is not the hour to preserve what is familiar. This is the moment to discern the hand of God at work within your disruption. This is the season to recognize that dissatisfaction is heaven's whisper, that your restlessness is the womb of your next revelation. It is a holy invitation to step beyond the limits of your past and embrace the territory of your future. Provision is already assigned to your obedience. Favor is already waiting in the place of your surrender. Doors are already opening in the direction of your purpose. But you will not find them where you have always been. You must leave the known to embrace the phenomenal. You must abandon comfort to apprehend calling. You must trust that the God who orders your steps has already prepared the land before you ever take the journey. You are standing at the edge of divine change. You are standing at the threshold of supernatural transition. Do not look back. Do not shrink back. Do not settle. Destiny is calling you forward. Your next chapter is not a repeat of the last. It is a revelation of who you truly are. So rise with courage. Walk with clarity. Move with conviction, because the greatest chapters of your life have not yet been written. They are waiting for your yes. This is your season. This is your time. This is your moment. Move and watch God change your life forever.